The plasma cannons fell silent across the Zephyrian front lines as Commander Vex studied the holographic display with growing dread. Red markers blinked ominously across the tactical map, each one representing another fallen position, another kilometer of territory lost to the relentless advance of the Kronar Empire. In 3 months, they had lost more ground than in the previous 5 years of conflict. "Sir, the Eastern Quadrant has been overrun," reported Lieutenant Kale, his voice barely steady. "The Kronar forces are advancing on the capital city. At this rate, we have perhaps 72 hours before we surrender," Vex finished grimly. The Zephyrian military had fought valiantly, but their energy-based weapons and defensive tactics proved woefully inadequate against the Kronar's biomechanical infantry and their terrifying ability to adapt to any strategy within hours. That's when the transmission came through on an encrypted channel that shouldn't have existed. "This is Strike Force Omega requesting permission to engage hostile forces," crackled a voice through the comm system. The accent was strange, the words clipped and efficient in a way that made Vex's scales bristle with unease. "Identify yourself," Vex commanded. "This is a restricted frequency. Human military forces responding to your distress beacon. We specialize in difficult situations." Vex exchanged glances with his staff. Humans were a relatively new species in the galactic community, known primarily for their stubborn refusal to follow established military protocols and their disturbing tendency to find creative solutions to impossible problems. Most civilized species considered them barely contained savages. "We didn't send a distress beacon," Vex replied cautiously. "You did. 3 weeks ago. We just took some time to prepare." Within hours, the human ships appeared at the system's edge. They were smaller than expected, dark and angular, bristling with weapons that seemed almost primitive compared to the elegant energy arrays of other species. But there was something unsettling about their approach. No formal battle formations, no predictable patterns, just a loose swarm of predators closing in on their prey. The first engagement changed everything. While Zephyrian forces had been fighting a defensive war, trying to minimize casualties and protect infrastructure, the humans fought with a brutality that shocked both sides. They ignored the established rules of engagement completely. Where the Kronar expected energy shields, they found kinetic projectiles that punched through armor with devastating efficiency. Where they expected honorable combat, they encountered ambush tactics, psychological warfare, and weapons that seemed designed for maximum terror rather than clean elimination. Captain Morrison, the human commander, stood barely 5 feet tall but radiated an intensity that made even Vex uncomfortable. Her dark eyes held no mercy as she briefed the Joint Command Staff. "Your enemy adapts to your tactics because you're predictable," she explained, her voice carrying the weight of countless battles. "They study your patterns, counter your moves, and overwhelm you with superior numbers. But they've never faced humans before. The human strategy was chaos incarnate. They used chemical weapons that created confusion rather than death, forcing Kronar forces to fight blind. They employed sound-based psychological warfare that exploited previously unknown vulnerabilities in Kronar neural systems. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to enjoy the brutality of close combat, engaging in hand-to-hand fighting with a savagery that the biomechanical Kronar couldn't match. Within 2 weeks, the tide had turned. The Kronar, for the first time in their expansionist history, began to retreat. Not a tactical withdrawal, but a full-scale rout driven by genuine fear. "How?" Vex asked Morrison as they watched Kronar ships fleeing the system. Morrison's smile was cold and predatory. "Simple. We didn't fight to win. We fought to make them afraid of what we'd do if they stayed. The war ended not with negotiation or surrender, but with the Kronar Empire's complete withdrawal from Zephyrian space. The humans departed as quickly as they had arrived, leaving behind only a message: call us when you need monsters to fight monsters. Vex never forgot the lesson. Sometimes survival required embracing the darkness that civilized species tried so hard to leave behind.